guys, I actually came back unexpectedly so soon. So I'm representing the Lumineers. Okay, so I'm here to share another one of my experiences, which is not belonging. And I think a lot of us have experienced that. I just wanted to share this for comfort and comfort in those of you that have experienced this and want the same things I do, which is to belong. So to start off with my experience, all throughout my first 18 years of life and till now, 4 years later, two. I hesitated to say that. But the first 18 years of my life, and still now, I never had more than two friends. The elementary school, one friend; middle school, one friend. It was always like I had a best friend. Oh wow, there's a big insect outside the window. I don't know what it is, but it's a big one. So middle school I had one. She was a close. When I used to define close as in we always saw each other at school, because I never saw any of my friends outside of school. So as I defined close was how much I saw her at school. That wasn't close emotionally. I'm learning the importance of emotionally connecting with someone, and it's very healing to me. And in high school, it was two friends. I tried to make a few others, but every time I tried to go up to someone, or I would try to talk to them more. Sometimes it would start working, but I always felt like they didn't want to put in the same effort as me. They weren't wanting to be my friend as much as I maybe wanted to be their friend. And I didn't see that subconsciously, I knew deep down, but I wanted to be accepted and approved. So I would try to be their friend, and no hard feelings here. They weren't feeling it, and that's okay. So when I was 17, 18, that's when I started getting a few other friends. But maybe they just saw me as classmates, that we can talk in class together. I think that's what they kind of saw me as sometimes. And that made the whole experience was, I was always used to it. There was never a point where I was in the cool crowd. I don't want to say cool crowd. I don't want to give it that narrative. But the peers of mine that had more attention, it's not that I never wanted to. I never wanted to be in that crowd, because I always wanted to go for the people I like to be around. I wanted a nice experience with the people I encountered at school. So yeah, never wanting to be with the people that had more, never wanting to be close friends with the people that had more attention. It was more just wanting to know what it was like to get more attention. Even teachers, I love most of my teachers. I was blessed with decent human beings as teachers. And And it always bummed me out when they would give more attention to the other students that were more well known in the school, I guess you could say. They got along with their teachers too. It's like they almost treated their teacher as one of their friends, and I think that bond connected them. But because I love some of my teachers so much, I always wanted to have that relationship with them, but it just never worked out. You know, I felt left, not, yeah, I did feel left out so many times. And that was one of the reasons why I'd feel left out. I didn't like the idea of teachers picking favorites, or I don't want to speak for them, but it's just the energy I got from them. But they were all very nice teachers, and I think they liked me for the most part, and I liked them. I sometimes wanted to be their friend too, because I spent so much of my adolescence and my young years. I spent so much of that time around adults because I was farming, and my bosses and managers and coworkers, like most of them were older than me. I was one of the youngest, and I was used to looking up to them, and I'm grateful for that experience because I got to look up to adults that cared for food, cared for the land, cared for the water, cared for the community, cared for what they were digesting in their body, cared for helping just teaching other kids of the value of good food. And I was younger, and it just picked up on me when I was 11, started working there, and seeing all this information that they were giving us about food and pesticides and GMOs and what it means to have good food. That's what they call it. And it's just so amazing to see that. And so I just didn't see the society going in that direction growing up. I always wanted to. And I kind of started feeling it. And it now has progressed to so much that people are plant-based, and people are not even drinking milk as much. People are paying attention to their nutrition and what they're putting in their body, and it's beautiful. And it's just so good to see. So it made me look up to adults. It made me want to be there. It made me want to be their friends, the teachers' friends. And so the next point I wanted to make was how I approach people now. Its effects on me with not wanting to belong or not want. A part of me didn't want to fit in because I never wanted to be like everybody else. I just wanted to be me. You know, there was some times, I'm sure that there were some times where I did things out of approval, but when it comes to being someone's friend, it's much more than how they make you look, or it's much more than just them approving you and giving validation. So its effects on me now. I also want to point out that I never hung out with them outside of class, which is not allowed in my household, and I didn't want to break. I was not a rule breaker. So, but I say that, but I had one friend, and she had a similar life where she just, we both stayed at home a lot, and we weren't people going to the clubs, and I mean, who was gonna, like, I didn't know, I'm not even the clubs, just anything going on. I had no idea what was going on in the social scene of my school. It was non-existent because I just was never, I can't describe how it is because I just don't know. Maybe it wasn't a social scene, maybe it was just a couple friends getting together. I'm sure it was, but I just didn't see how they looked like. I didn't see what was going on. I just went to school, did the class, did the theater, even the theater kids, even they I wanted to be friends with. Just the way they were expressing themselves unapologetically, I liked that. And a part of me wanted to be around that. But so it's affects me now. Well, I never had a sleepover with a woman, and I want to so bad. I've always wanted to. And I want sacred sisterhood. I want a group of strong, beautiful, self-loving, empowering, loving, patient, compassionate people in my life, women in my life. And it's scary and exciting at the same time when I dream of a reality where I'm with a group of women, when I'm having a sleepover with a group of women, because I never experienced that. It makes me wonder what that is like, and I can't wait for that. And it's sometimes hard to picture it because you never experienced it, but I know it's gonna be so beautiful. So, and when I really feel connected with someone, there's times where I get really anxious and start shaking because I wanted them to like me so bad because I liked them so much. But let me know if you have ever felt that way. Any of these ways that I felt, and always being invisible. Usually the one friend I had, I think with all the friends I've had, which would be just one, but the times that I approached them, because I remember going to high school and not having anyone. Oh my gosh. I had one other girl that was with me, but she was not really there for me, and she wanted to be more. She wanted that validation from someone else, I believe. Maybe. I don't like speaking for people, but what I observed was I just wasn't cared for as a friend. But going to high school, separating myself in the beginning with that one girl, I didn't have anybody, and I was like, okay, I have to make a friend, and I'm very selective. Like in the school I was in, there was no one only of select just like 2 or 3 out of the whole entire 4 years that I wanted to be friends with. And and it's just because the people there just I just wasn't feeling connected to. I wasn't feeling drawn to them. But yeah, high school I did have 2 friends at least. Okay, yeah. And when I had to make just at least one friend, because I didn't want to be by myself completely. I didn't want to experience the rest of my education by myself. And so there was one girl at the time that we ended up being very close to. She was one of my closest friends I ever had at the time. And we just stuck through it the entire 4 years, and every year, at the end of every year, I would try to reassure myself and her that I want to be your friend for the next year. Because that's how I genuinely felt. That's how I genuinely felt. That's how I genuinely felt. But at the same time, I didn't want to be abandoned. So fast forward to now. That friend let me go. I've let people go, and I'm calling in. I'm asking for sisterhood, and it will come. It will come. And if that's what you've been yearning for too, if you've been yearning for deep connection with women, sisters, if you've been longing, if your heart has been aching for someone, another female, to fully see you, to fully hold you, to fully love you, it will come. Our time will come. If your heart has been aching for another woman to show you love like never before, to care for you, to just love you for who you are, it will come. It will come. Because if I can exist, oh yeah, someone else as dope as me can exist, okay? Who just wants just love in their life, who just wants appreciation and value and human connection. But there's been some good that's come out of this whole experience of being alone, eating in the cafeteria alone, for one, has allowed me to eat alone wherever I go. I never saw an issue with that because I was used to it. I could eat alone. I didn't have a phone till later in life, until I was about 18, like actual phone. And when I'm eating, I just don't pull out the phone. There's times where I would take you would take a photo of your food, but I just eat until I finish eating and get up. There's no other. I sometimes try to take my time with eating because I want to take in the experience. I want to take in observing other people, communicate, and hang out with your other friends or family. I want to experience the design of the restaurant. That always gets me. If you want me to eat at a place, take me somewhere that has a nice, architecture, a cool design, a cool wallpaper, nice tiles, nice tables and chairs and flowers and plants and yeah. My eye is always drawn to pretty things. Besides eating alone, what else have I? Spending time alone. I think I prefer spending time alone more than spending time with others. Definitely. I just have to put myself out there though. I spend most of my time at home, but I spend most of the week usually at home. So I definitely go out just at this stage in my life, not as much. But that's okay because I couldn't hang out with those friends when I was younger. I spent time at home, so I had all of this comfort in my home and being alone in my home. And I think I would maybe some of you can resonate with that. That is my segment. Let the sun shine on you for at least 5 seconds today. Hello, sun. Thank you for shining today.